Hello Heather, it's Tuesday, and your video about nostalgia made me very nostalgic. And it's interesting because I'm a little older than you, so we hit these points at different times, but two things in your video jumped out at me and made me remember things from my own past. The first was the Disney movie The Little Mermaid, which you saw as a child. I was in college, I was about 20 when that movie came out, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen. I was completely blown away by it as a movie. This was also a time in my life when I was, as we used to say, coming to terms with my sexuality. And something about the themes in that movie and the idea of longing and of wanting to find the world where you really belong and you can really be yourself and you can really be with who you love was kind of powerful to me even then. And of course, all those lyrics were written by Howard Ashman, who was a gay man who unfortunately died fairly young of AIDS. And I really think when you listen to a song like Part of Your World, that declaration of wanting to find the place where you really feel you belong, I think that spoke to a lot of people, not just gay people, but anybody who's ever felt on the outside, who's ever felt out of place in the place they grew up and really wanted to hope for something better. And Prince Eric is by far my favorite Disney prince. He is hands down the cutest Disney prince ever. And the other thing you mentioned was the classic Nintendo games, which I loved. And again, this is something that you probably discovered as a child, and I was already an adult, but my father, I guess in his 50s, developed a passion for the original Nintendo gaming system and played these games like Super Mario Brothers and Mega Man and Castlevania. And I still remember with nostalgia getting on that system with my dad and just playing for hours and really getting into it. And I had a moment recently. My friend took me to this thing in Portland called the Retro Gaming Expo, where they bring together all these old arcade games and console games. It's an amazing assortment of classic games. And they had set up an actual like 80s living room, and they had a NES system, and there was a kid playing Castlevania, and he was like 12, and he was just doing it wrong. And I happened to walk by, and he was obviously having a lot of trouble using some of the features. And Castlevania was very much a favorite of mine. So I just felt a little weird, but I said, do you mind if I show you how to use that? He said, oh, sure. And so I took the controls and just jumped back in and showed him how to use all the different weapons, and we killed the big boss, and it was just great. It was a great, great moment, which is, I guess, the point of nostalgia, is to give you points of entry into those moments you may have forgotten. So thank you for reminding me of some wonderful things. I agree with you totally about the power of music as a trigger to memory. And I actually want to talk more about that and hear more about songs that trigger certain memories in you, and I'll try to think of some to share later on. Bye for now.